Hello, people of the internet. Ian Altosaar, the Freedom Astrologer here, and I'm doing another video on Bitcoin and let's say the week ahead and some longer influences that might be affecting Bitcoin. And this is let's call it a real data analysis with Bitcoin and some astrological influences configurations. So as you can see on my left, there's a graph, there's some data, there's some bars. What does this all mean? So the week starts with Moon in Aries. So let's look at the Moon first. So the Moon in traditional astrology is a bit of a important thing, let's say, important influence. It shows us our emotions and feelings and how they fluctuate and how they're influenced. And as you can imagine, these are also important if we consider the markets or the financial markets. Now, the moon is fast and changes signs really quickly. Approximately 2.5 days we change signs. So each week we have to look at approximately 3 to maybe sometimes even 4 signs, how Bitcoin fares in those signs, to see some indications of what will happen. Now, I want to say that I will add other influences to this as well, not only the moon. So we can't only consider only one influence, we need to consider others as well. But the week starts off with Moon in Aries. So you can see on this graph as well, the Moon in Aries generally hasn't been the best for Bitcoin. And through the years, let's say, of course, the market fluctuates up and down. There are up and down days here, but generally, during Moon in Aries, Bitcoin gets a bit of a correction. But remember, these are short-term, couple of days influences, and other influences can support or sometimes affect negatively. But this time, just to keep clear, we have some supporting astrological influences to kind of back up the moon in Aries as well. So generally, Moon in Aries negative for Bitcoin. This week, I'm not so, maybe not so negative about it. Maybe we get a little bit of a dip downwards, but nothing too dramatic. Because, let me see if I can find the right tab. Because we have this bit of a supporting aspect here. This is a general aspect of Pluto in Capricorn, sextile Sun in Pisces. So I gave it a 4-degree orb. If you're into astrology, know what orbs mean. But now this was kind of, in traditional astrology, it's also like a positive influence of like feeling your power and being empowered and finding your deep confidence, and maybe some people in powerful positions helping you and giving you support. But as we can see in Bitcoin, or if we compare this to Bitcoin, we have only a couple of down days, and this influence gets exact, if I'm correct, on Tuesday, Monday night, depending on where you are, of course. So beginning of the week, this influence gets exact as well. But mostly we can see Sun from Pisces, sextile in sextile is also a positive influence usually in traditional astrology. So with Bitcoin's price, we can see this also applies, meaning it has influenced price positively in an upward manner. So this gives me, let's say, some, I'm not so worried about the moon in Aries usually. That is a supportive influence. So another supporting influence we have, this is a longer one. This is this is Mercury in Pisces, or Bitcoin during Mercury in Pisces, and we can see as well this has been mostly positive influence. From left to right, look at the years. The data is all a bit crazy. There's a lot of places to get this data from, but from left to right, you can see there's generally an upward movement in price. Only I think 2018 was a negative year, and 2014 as well. Other years we can see Mercury in Pisces has been very good for Bitcoin, which is strange from a traditional astrological point of view, because in traditional astrology Mercury doesn't do that well in Pisces. But again, I wanted to show you this because traditional astrology and financial astrology don't always match, So you need to get the data, you need to compare it to these configurations, you need to see if it really influences the price positively or negatively. But this will last approximately a month, so approximately beginning of April, middle of April. So again, some support, so that moon in Aries, it doesn't look so scary there. But just want to say that this doesn't mean that if there's a longer term positive influence, doesn't mean there aren't smaller dips in between. This is approximately a month. Let's say this is a 2020 example. Beginning of the period, we were at 7,300, and we closed the approximately month-long period around $9,600. So some increase, but in between there were fluctuations. So let's say, for example, if you buy here, hold until here, probably get the point. So generally positive influence, but doesn't negate fluctuations in between. Now we are let's move on to the next moon sign, Aries. We did moon in Taurus. So moon in Taurus usually in traditional astrology is very positive, very optimistic, grounded emotions, the best position for the moon. And I looked at each year separately as well, and mostly again during moon in Taurus, Bitcoin or the price is influenced positively. So starting from Tuesday around afternoon, again depends on where you are in the world. But if you're in Europe, around afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, moon is in Taurus. And usually a positive influence, not anything super dramatic, but usually a positive influence. Moon in Taurus. What did I want to talk about? Going forward, I think we had moon in Gemini. So the week ends with moon in Gemini. I looked at each year separately as well. Now, moon in Gemini was a bit of a, mostly positive influence for Bitcoin. There were a couple of more down years in moon in Gemini, but generally anything, or let's say not so negative as moon in Aries, but not so positive as moon in Taurus. Now, we need to look at other influences to make these decisions as well, because maybe the end of the week is a bit unknown. Let's say, because we can't really only use the moon. So we have an interesting one here, which is Mars trine Saturn. This is again a general influence, and in traditional astrology, this is a very, very positive aspect between these, usually called malefics. And from the data, we can see it's not so clear in Bitcoin's case. So we can see, there are a little more up days, positive days, but there are quite a few, down days, quite a few corrections as well. So this needs to be considered as well. But generally, when you look at, let's say long-term strategies or long-term holds, right now we're seeing still Mercury in Pisces positive. What did I have? I have Sun. Sorry. Bitcoin during Sun in Aries. Now, although, the Moon in Gemini isn't all that positive end of the week, or it's not so negative as well, but we have Sun moving into Aries. So this is the best position for the Sun in traditional astrology. Now, from data wise, this time we can see it pretty clearly as well. We have only 2018, I think we had a small dip during the month-long period. I think it was 8,800, and we closed the period 7,300. So small dip during 2018, but from left to right you can see most years again we have grown, we have increased, or Bitcoin has increased its price. So again, this influences us for a month. If we even add Mars in Gemini, now Mars in Gemini is even a longer term influence. It ends, I think, end of April, if I remember correctly now. And Mars in Mars in Gemini, tongue is already twisted. Mars in Gemini, the only 2 negative years, just let me check this to be sure, because it's hard to see from this, but let me just clarify this information. Mars in Gemini is positive for Bitcoin. And it has increased in price almost all years except for 2015, 2017. It was like the upside, even 2015 and 2017, the upside was there, but it was like less substantial. So it was kind of like a, break even-ish or a smallish increase. And 2013, we had a break-even year during Mars in Gemini. So this is approximately a 2 month period, end of April. Again, usually positive for Bitcoin. So you can see longer term influences right now. I'm not, usually either bull or bear. I try to just make decisions by data. So for now, some of the longer term influences suggest still the continuation of the trend. Of course, fluctuations happen, but long term trend seems to be still intact. From let's say astrological point of view as well. Now we can add a little bit of a statistical. I wanted to, most people probably watching this video know this, but we just broke another resistance level, and we closed, which I think is in my mind always the most important thing. We closed above another major level of resistance. So although there can be a small correction here, a little bit of a dip, we have to consider also the stimulus checks coming in, people getting the stimulus checks. These are already, we have seen markets being positively influenced by these. Really don't want to bet against these influences. We don't really want to bet against the stimulus. Don't really want to bet against major resistance broken, closed above it. Okay, we can make an argument this is a daily chart, but still we look I think this is at least for a little while we can consider a continuation of the uptrend. I think that was the gist of what I wanted to share, the gist of what I wanted to show data wise. Do I have anything else to show? Sun in Aries we looked at, trine Saturn we looked at, Pluto sextile Sun we also looked at, Mercury during Pisces, Bitcoin during Mercury in Pisces we also looked at. So I think mostly bad news for people who are bearish, mostly good news for people who are long or optimistic about Bitcoin's price, at least for a little while more. I think we will see the continuation of the trend. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. I'll also do my best to attach these graphs, these data graphs to the video, to the link description below. If you want to play with the data, I think you can. I'm not sure yet. I'm learning to use this software. And anyway, leave me comments if you can't see the data from the links, or if there are problems with the data. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the astrological and kind of like data Bitcoin, putting these two worlds together, and see you soon in the next video.